such an asshole!
What's up, everybody? Welcome once again to a relatively new segment of Asshole Consulting. I like to call this Asshole Musician. And that asshole musician would be me. Aaron received an email from a musician who was looking for some advice. As always, I am happy to help. And the best way to do this, off the top of my head, is just to go line by line through this guy's email. I don't know if he wants to be named, so I'm not going to name him. Hi, Aaron. I'm 33 years old with no wife and no kids. Wonderful! I am a musician who only wanted to do music after high school. Yeah, you and every other musician. I never wanted to go to college, but gave in to family pressure to go to school. Well, that was a stupid thing to do. I bounced around for another 9 years between community college, private music school, state college, and ended up getting a business degree. When everything was done, I had a degree and $137,000 in debt. Well done! Well done, playa. After college, I got a job in investment sales and make about 65 grand a year. Sounds like a good job, man. Yes, I see the irony in me giving investment advice. So do the rest of us. I have, however, changed my ways and have become militant about my finances. Well, it's about fucking time. I never raised my cost of living and have been able to reduce my debt to $98,000. Okay, chipping away at it. Good for you. I guess that's what having a job like that will help you do. The problem is that I hate working in an office and I still only want to play music. You and every other musician who works in an office and plays music on the side. I hear that a lot. I don't have dreams of being a rock star. Good, because you have a better chance of winning the Powerball 3 times in a row. I just want to be a working musician like your other asshole consultant, Matt Baldoni. Well, thank you. I appreciate that people might want a life like this. I will agree with you that it is pretty cool. I fear debt is the worst thing that can happen to a musician. It's one of them. It's the worst thing that can happen. It's a bad thing to happen to anybody, but musicians get taken out by lots of different shit. Women, financial problems, drugs, alcohol, all kinds of stupid shit. It's an unstable business and a crazy business with lots of ups and downs to begin with. So I believe in eliminating the variables as much as possible. So I'm debating staying in my job, paying off my debt, and then transitioning into music full time. At the rate I'm on, I could probably pay off my debt at my current job in 3 years. The thought of sticking it out or working this job for another 3 years feels soul-crushing. Hey, I got news for you, buddy. A lot of fucking gigs I play are incredibly soul-crushing. I'm personally really tired of people thinking that an office job is here in terms of level of fun for a certain amount of money, and a job as a musician is here in terms of that, okay? This needs to be looked at like a job, and every job fucking sucks, okay? Believe me, I'm very grateful that I don't have to work in an office. I'm glad I set my life up that way. I'm glad I engineered it that way. I think the musicians that are close personal friends of mine are much happier people in general than the other friends of mine who actually have to work in offices. But everyone has to know, not just this guy, everybody has to know that this is still a job and there's still a lot of parts of it that really suck. Unfortunately, I'm not trained in anything else, and it's too hard to get a job doing anything else in this day and age, so whether I like it or not, I am stuck. But fortunately, I actually really like this, and I'm good at it. Hopefully, you are similar. As a solution, I've been researching cruise ships who pay musicians about $2,000 a month to play on the ship. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I've done the cruise ships as a fly-on visiting artist. I've never really done them as a full-time member of the crew musician. I know a lot of people that have, though. A lot of guys I know, very close friends of mine, very well-respected musicians, came from the cruise ships. You can get a pretty serious amount of skills in a fairly short amount of time. There's few gigs like it in that way. There's a lot of new music coming in all the time. You see a lot of new music. You learn a lot of songs. Let me tell you why I never did it. As you can see, $2,000 a month, that's shitty money. And although you can live on it, you know, there are no expenses, you know, when you're on the boat. He's right about that. They fly you to and from the gig. You're stuck on a fucking boat, man. You're stuck on a fucking boat, sometimes for years. You have a roommate, you sleep on a bunk bed, and you spend 90% of your time in the belly of a fucking ship. None of that sounds like fun to me. That's why I've never done it. But again, I do know a lot of people who have, and they're all good. Most of them are good musicians and nice people. I do know some that came from the ships that are terrible. I don't know if you could pay off your debt any faster taking a music gig that was $2,000 a month. I mean, it seems to me that if you make $65,000 a year currently, you could feasibly put away $2,000 a month as it stands right now and then work on music in your free time. I don't know. This guy looks really anxious to just quit his job to me. All right. The issue is that I would need to improve my sheet music reading skills to get the job. Absolutely. Yeah, that job requires a lot of reading. I mean, if you just get one of the lounge band jobs, you might not have to read as much, but as I understand it, if you're working in the production show, which is the gig to have on a cruise ship, you're going to have to, your sight reading is going to have to be pretty good. I want to quit my current job and spend the next year working on this. Okay, so you're 33. You want to quit your job and spend a year working on your playing. That will put you at 34. Then you're on the ship for another few years, which will put you, close to 40. Then you come off the ship with a bunch of skills, of course, at 40 years old, and you land in a place like, I don't know, where I live in Las Vegas, or a place like LA or Nashville, or even a smaller city than those, where at least there are a bunch of musicians working. You're 40 years old, you have 5 years professional experience, and you're competing for jobs with a bunch of other 40-year-olds who have 25 years of professional experience, okay? You may be just as good as some of these guys, you may be better than some, you'll likely not be as good as most, just based on experience, Can it be done? I don't know. I think so. You'll get some work. There are no offense, but there are plenty of fucking bad musicians making a living. You don't have to be brilliantly talented to make a few bucks in my business, unfortunately. There are some grotesquely untalented people who are world fucking famous. All right. Working on your reading, I would suggest getting a one-on-one private teacher who plays bass and who's a good reader for that in the meantime, regardless of what you do. And I would suggest learning how to read in both bass and treble clef. Learning how to read, and this is just for him. Some of the other people who see this are going to think this is a little Chinese. I would learn how to read both slash notation, rhythmic figures, and written lines in both bass and treble clef. I would also make sure that your jazz walking bass lines are at least semi-pro level at varying tempos. Being a rhythm section musician like me as a guitarist or a bass player or a keyboard player, percussionist, when you read, it's basically about not only nailing the notes and chord changes, but also nailing the feel and the style. And that's the stuff that really can only come from experience, I think. So a private teacher and getting together with other musicians, whether you join a band or just get together with guys for fun, to read as much shit as possible is the best thing. I would recommend also diving headfirst into jazz and the real book tunes and learning to read the melodies, walk the bass lines, and blow through the changes of some of those very old jazz standards. There's few things that can give you as much comprehensive knowledge as a musician as doing that. Okay. taking a year to work on your playing, I think if you really buckle down and work on it, I don't think you're going to have to spend a year just sitting around doing nothing and working on your playing. I think you could do it in a few months, enough to pass the audition anyway. You're going to get thrown into the fire if and when you get the gig, but, I think it could, if you're fucking serious like me and my friends and a lot of people we know, I think it could be done in a few months, maybe 3 or 4 months. Am I an idiot for wanting to quit my job, cash out my 401k, work on a year for preparing for an audition for a cruise ship so that I can play music full time and become debt free? That all sounds great, but life has a way of getting in the way with your bullshit fucking plans. So I don't know if you're an idiot. I think thinking that'll all just, you'll transition through all those things smoothly and without hiccups is pretty fucking naive. A lot could happen in that time. You could be working on your playing and not working the investment job during that year and all of a sudden get a gig. All of a sudden get a gig with a good cover band that's making enough money to get you by. From society's perspective, he says, I'm finally on track. Yeah, I guess. I have a decent job, good pay, and I could keep doing what I'm doing and slowly move up the corporate ladder. Okay, that's great. Unfortunately, you are a victim of societal conditioning. Societal conditioning told you at a young age, just like they fucking told me, that no, you can't be a musician for a living. You have to go and get a degree and get a fucking real job. It was likely a bunch of baby boomers that told you that. As usual, they fucking lied. And you can do anything you want in this world, including be a full-time musician. And you didn't have to do that. And you certainly didn't have to rack up $130,000 in fucking debt. Not all of that's on you. A lot of it's on you, but not all of it is. Some of that's on the assholes in charge who were telling you what to do when you were young and a lot more impressionable. Those are the people you should be fucking pissed at. They sold you a bill of goods and they were lying to you. That sucks. Okay. So, and again, I want to remind everybody, not just this guy, plenty of musicians make a full-time living year-round and have all the American dream bullshit you could want, from nice houses to wives and families and a couple cars and pets and private school for their kids and a nice safe house in the suburbs in a gated community. I know all kinds of guys like that, man. All that stuff is not for me, and entering the business at what will be 40 years old, still having some debt, and not really knowing anybody in a new music scene and all that kind of stuff, I would recommend living as small as you fucking possibly can. I would recommend renting a room and just doing whatever you can to play in front of people as much as possible. Let's see. My end goal is to live a minimalist lifestyle, be debt-free, and support myself with music and enjoy the short time we have on Earth. Yeah, that's my goal too, or it was. And as you can see, my life is nothing special, but I have attained all of that or most of that. And you know what? It's a pretty great life. It's cool being self-employed and not having to answer to a boss. It's cool being single and not having to answer to a wife or to children. And he's totally right about all that. Can this be done? I think so. I think so. The part that worries me the most is when he gets off the ship and has to go live somewhere permanently to make a living as a musician. That's got to be a town with lots going on, like the one that I live in, or another one similar to it. And he's going to be the same age as guys that have 4 or 5 times as much experience as him. That's going to be tough, and it's going to be a little heart-wrenching because a lot of rejection is going to come with that. But if you're a badass and you've really worked hard enough, you can tell these people to go fuck themselves and that you are ready to do the gig, okay? But don't undercut the rest of us. Don't try and go under our price point and work for less money than us, because they're always going to hire us before they hire you, because we're better. We're more experienced, we're more talented, we've been at it longer, and we're better. But is there a place for you in my business? Probably. I don't know doing what. There's all kinds of gigs out there, man. Your asshole perspective would be much appreciated. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. I don't know if I've helped you so far, but I did give you a few thoughts. This is something, I want to say this is something very, very common that I have heard more than anything from the public. I do a lot of meet and greets after performances on the Las Vegas Strip or on tour, or when I'm side manning behind another artist, or when I'm even playing in a small club or a restaurant or something like that. The one thing I hear more than any other thing is, more than, wow, you guys sound great, even more than that, I hear this: man, I used to play music, I sure should have stuck with it. I think a lot of people look on a stage and see musicians and they see them smiling a lot and they see that we are really having fun. That's absolutely true. We are really having fun, and I think most people are stupid and they got into a job they hate, just like this guy did, because society told them so, and that is pretty much the wrong reason to do anything. This is a really good life, and this guy's going to be a little bit of a late bloomer, but I think he probably could do it if he really, really fucking buckled down and did it. It's going to take like a level of training like a new athlete would have to use. Like, for example, at my jiu-jitsu gym, I know these guys a lot younger than me who want to be fighters someday. They want to be in the UFC, or they want to be blah, 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 blah. That's certainly not why I'm there, but for a lot of young guys, late teens, early 20s guys, they realize that they're going to have to work themselves to the point of absolute physical breakdown and be built back up in order to enter into that brass ring kind of world. And I don't know, I haven't heard you play, dude. Maybe you're brilliant. Maybe you're like fucking Jaco Pastorius. I don't know. Okay, but the more likely scenario is that there's a lot in your playing that you're going to have to work on, and it's going to take as much hard work on your part as possible. I say that also because I'm still a perpetual student of music myself, and I'm always practicing and working on things, whether I do them on a gig, use them on a gig or not. There's always something I'm learning off of a record, or a new style of playing I'm trying to explore, or I'm just working on bare bones technique. And I work on my reading too. There's certain parts of my sight reading that I want to keep sharp, so there's a few books that I read, or I'll just I'll read piano music, I'll read violin music, I'll read bass guitar music, but anyway, I hope some of this has helped this guy. I'm always happy to contribute to Asshole Consulting and be the asshole musician in residency. I will say this once again, as I've said before, I help Aaron and I help his businesses because he's my friend, and furthermore, and more importantly, I believe in his product. I believe in his blog. I believe in his books. I believe in his podcast. And I certainly believe in Asshole Consulting. And I'm always happy to contribute to this particular business. So with that, I think that's it. Later.